What makes in your own view, Minister, what makes a person credible? When you say this one, Tebogo Chair, is credible or is not credible, what makes him credible in your own view? Minister?
What makes a person credible, Chair, is exactly how it is defined when you Google. By encyclopedia, you'll see what it means. It's exactly that.
You are not going to answer us. You are not going to answer us, Minister.
I've responded, Chairperson.
Yep. Do you remember that Minister Nobuhle Nkabane, Minister of Higher Education, who recently trended on all social media platforms about her arrogancy? Didn't want to respond to the parliament comments, but recently she did not even appear in the latest parliament committee where she was supposed to be grilled again for questioning. Now, Cyril Ramaphosa has taken decisions to fire or dismiss her from her position and then decided to replace her with Buti Manamela, who has been a deputy Minister for Higher Education for quite some time, and then Cyril Ramaphosa then decided to go take Nomsa Dube to then be the deputy, Dr. Nomsa Dube to then be the deputy Minister of Higher Education of Buti Manamela. However, even though people are so happy and happy that Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane has been fired, Nobuhle then released a statement before the president announced the reshuffling of the parliament. She then thanked the people of South Africa. She pretended that she was resigning. So South Africans now believes that Ramaphosa is just acting out. She's going to take this minister from this position and put this minister on another position. Nobuhle has been accused of a lot of fraud, taking tenders for education, CETA, giving people monies and all of that. So she's been accused of inkohlakalo eningi kakhulu. Hence, she couldn't answer for herself on parliament. She was very arrogant and all of that. But anyway, it stands for now. She's no longer the Minister of Higher Education. Chances are, will she get another job? Of course, yes. This is ANC we're talking about here. This is ANC we're talking about. They corrupt to the core. The president of this country, same WhatsApp group with his people. So they're just going to take few days. They're going to take this minister and then shuffle this minister to another position. And then life continues. But what's also so tricky is the fact that Senzo Mchunu, Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu, after all the alterations with Mkhwanazi, he was then given a special leave. But instead of taking his deputy to become the minister, they then hired somebody else outside to be the minister, that white Indian, whatever. While that was the case, they then hired, they then took Utaiga, Utaiga, to be the Minister of Police, while the acting one is going to start in August and the deputy is still acting. And then there's guys, South Africa gives me anxiety. Now the question is then, why was not that deputy of Mkhono taken and be made the Minister of Police? Right? Is it because he's aware of Mkhono's shenanigans with the president? Because now they've taken the deputy minister of the higher education, they made him the minister, and then they took Nomsa Dube to be the deputy. Well, speaking of Nomsa Dube, bad news happened. Her house was burnt into ashes yesterday, the house and cars and everything. On the very same day, she then received the news that she has been appointed as the deputy minister of Higher Education. Well, so it was a bitter moment. I don't think she celebrated because as we speak, she does not have a house, she does not have cars, and you could hear her crying on the video saying, "Hey, usatane wani lo no wenzakalayo." But if it's happened to one of the ANC people, we don't cry that much because we don't have services at the end of the day, and maybe they should feel a bit of this is wrong of me. Minister Shem, I told you, insurance is shishikog.
The EFF is vindicated. I think those who would have been following the story from that day when the EFF was kicked out of parliament bouncers were called to drag us out of Parliament because we asked a simple question to the DG of Higher Education relating to this problem of sitters. We held the ministry accountable when they wanted to put and appoint the children of ministers, when they wanted to deploy ANC cadres, when they wanted to deploy comrades to go and loot the monies and the billions of rands which are supposed to be used to uplift the youth of South Africa. So we're vindicated in that fight because I think what we're seeing now really are the products of the continued fight, of the continued resilience in Parliament, to say that Parliament must not be made a sleeping institution that is there to protect the executive. Parliament's role fundamentally is to hold the executive accountable, not to cover up their corruption, not to protect them. And I think when you look at what the President and Commander-in-Chief of the EFF said in the press briefings just after the 2024 national election, was that the approach the EFF is going to take in Parliament is going to be much more robust, is going to be much more organized to ensure that before we attend committee meetings, we prepare, we plan, and we ask the very difficult and hard questions.
And how well, Sihle, do you think the committee has done, Parliament has done, in its interrogation of the issue around the selection or the appointment of these CETA board chairpersons, which were, yes, eventually rescinded, but not without resistance?
Look, it took a huge fight because obviously there are still members of Parliament that belong to the ANC, and you still have a chairperson that belongs to the ANC. So the obvious and natural position they are going to take is to try and protect their minister. But we didn't stop. We're resilient. As I said, even when they tried to silence us, even when they tried to kick us out of Parliament, we ensured that we continue to raise this matter because it was a very important matter that deals with issues of young people in South Africa, but also the purse of government, to say, as we debate budget, as we vote for these budgets, how are we going to ensure that the money that government sets aside for higher education is being used correctly? It's not being channeled into the pockets of ANC cadres. It's not being channeled into the pockets of tenderpreneurs or corrupt construction companies or corrupt businesses that are aligned to the sitters, to ensure that that money is being used correctly. So you're correct. It didn't come easy. It took a big fight, and it took us standing firm on our position, even though at the time we were standing alone until society started to join.
The DA and Rise Mzansi have also spoken to us this evening. Yes, are happy that Minister Nkabane is out of cabinet, but they also feel that not every question has fully been addressed or accountability been taken in its wholeness. I wonder if the EFF shares the same position, and if so, what outstanding questions do you have, and who should answer them now?
Look, the new minister must know that he's going to find us ready. There are much more structural problems in higher education, not only in the CETAs, by the way. You will remember that even before this minister was removed, we raised the issues of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. When we said, Minister, there are middlemen companies here that are making billions of rands every year and every month, yet we don't know what the services they're providing to students. Even in the CETAs, by the way, I think those who would have read the Sunday Times over the weekend would have picked up that there are a lot of corruption scandals that are taking place in the corruption CETAs, in the National Skills Fund. So we're going to continue to ask those questions. And for us, it doesn't matter whether it's Nkabane, whether it's Buti, whether it's Nomusa. What we're going to do is to hold the executive accountable and ensure that the department is doing its work. So you're correct. We're not going to celebrate and, be over euphoric and all of that. We are just doing our work. And tomorrow we'll be wearing our overalls. We'll be continuing with the work of Parliament as if nothing happened.